Listen, buying a drone should be exciting, but some brands out there will leave you frustrated and disappointed. Today, we're counting down 10 drone brands that just don't deliver what they promise. These companies cut corners, lack proper support, and leave beginners stuck with machines that barely fly. If you're thinking about getting into the drone hobby, you need to know which brands to avoid. We've done the research so you don't waste your hard-earned money. Stay until the end because number 1 will shock you. Let's get started. Number 10. Skyrover. Starting our list is Skyrover, a brand that sounds impressive but fails to deliver on basic performance standards. These drones often suffer from connectivity problems where the controller simply loses signal mid-flight, causing your aircraft to drift away or crash unexpectedly. The camera quality is extremely poor, producing grainy footage that looks like it was filmed in the early 2000s. Battery life rarely matches what's advertised, giving you maybe 10 minutes of actual flight time when they claim 20. Customer support is practically non-existent, with emails going unanswered for weeks. The build quality feels flimsy, with plastic components that crack easily from minor impacts. Flight stability is another major issue, as these drones struggle to hover in place even on calm days. The mobile app frequently crashes and has terrible reviews across all platforms. Replacement parts are nearly impossible to find, meaning one broken propeller could end your drone's life. For anyone serious about aerial photography or even casual flying, Skyrover represents everything wrong with bottom-tier manufacturers trying to cash in on the drone market without proper engineering or quality control standards. Number 9. Snaptain. Snaptain markets heavily toward beginners, but their products create more problems than they solve for new pilots learning the hobby. The instruction manuals are poorly translated and confusing, making the initial setup a frustrating puzzle that discourages newcomers. These drones have extremely limited range, often losing connection within 50 feet of the controller, despite claims of much greater distances. The cameras produce video that's basically unusable for any serious purpose, with terrible stabilization that makes footage shaky and unwatchable. Calibration issues plague these models, requiring constant adjustments that beginners don't understand how to perform correctly. Wind resistance is laughable, as even a slight breeze sends these lightweight machines tumbling across the sky like plastic bags. The charging systems are unreliable, with batteries that degrade rapidly after just a handful of uses. Propeller guards break easily, leaving the motors exposed to damage from the smallest collision. Their smartphone apps are outdated and incompatible with newer operating systems, limiting functionality right out of the box. For the same investment, you could purchase from established brands that actually support their customers and deliver functional products that help you learn proper piloting skills. Number 8. Holy Stone. Holy Stone occupies a strange position in the market, offering products that seem acceptable until you actually try to use them regularly. The GPS systems in their higher-end models are unreliable, frequently losing satellite connection and causing dangerous flyaways that end with crashed or lost drones. Battery compartments are poorly designed with flimsy latches that pop open during flight, sending your power source falling to the ground. The gimbal stabilization systems, when included, are mechanical disasters that produce jittery footage worse than having no stabilization at all. Firmware updates are rare and often create more bugs than they fix, leaving owners stuck with glitchy software. Range claims are wildly exaggerated, with real-world performance falling far short of advertised specifications that initially attracted buyers. Build materials feel cheap and brittle, showing wear and tear after minimal use that quality brands withstand easily. Customer service responses are generic templates that rarely address actual technical problems users experience. The obstacle avoidance sensors, if present, are unreliable and give false confidence that leads to crashes. Replacement parts take forever to arrive and often don't fit properly, forcing owners to improvise repairs. Holystone represents mediocrity, dressed up with marketing language that promises capabilities their engineering simply cannot deliver to pilots who deserve better equipment. Number 7. Potensic drones look decent in promotional photos, but reveal their shortcomings the moment you attempt your first real flight session. The controller ergonomics are terrible, with uncomfortable button placement that causes hand fatigue during extended use and makes emergency maneuvers difficult. Transmission lag between controller inputs and drone response creates dangerous situations where the aircraft doesn't react when you need immediate control. Camera mounting systems are loose and wobbly, making it impossible to capture smooth footage even in perfect flying conditions. The return-to-home function, a critical safety feature, is unreliable and sometimes sends the drone to completely wrong locations. Propeller quality is substandard, with blades that warp easily and create vibrations that affect flight performance and video quality. Software interfaces are clunky and unintuitive, requiring multiple menu dives to access basic settings that should be readily available. Battery indicators are inaccurate, giving little warning before sudden power loss that results in emergency landings or crashes. Build tolerances are inconsistent, meaning some units work marginally while others fail immediately, making quality control clearly non-existent. Their beginner-friendly marketing is misleading because these drones actually make learning to fly more difficult than using properly engineered equipment from reputable manufacturers who understand what new pilots actually need. Number 6. Force One. Force One attempts to compete in multiple categories but fails to excel in any of them, leaving customers disappointed regardless of their specific needs. The modular design philosophy sounds innovative but results in connections that loosen during flight, causing mid-air failures that end sessions abruptly. Camera resolution specifications are technically accurate, but sensor quality is so poor that images look worse than phones from a decade ago. Flight modes are gimmicky features that don't work reliably, turning advertised selling points into frustrating experiences that never function as demonstrated. Charging infrastructure is proprietary and expensive, locking you into their ecosystem with no standard alternatives available for replacement. The mobile app drains phone batteries incredibly fast while providing minimal useful functionality beyond basic control that physical controllers handle better. Customer reviews across platforms consistently mention the same recurring defects, indicating systematic manufacturing issues rather than isolated incidents. Wind resistance capabilities are grossly overstated, with these drones struggling in conditions that quality aircraft handle without problems. Sensor calibration drifts constantly, requiring frequent adjustments that interrupt flying sessions and waste valuable battery time. Their marketing targets parents buying gifts for children, but the products are too fragile and unreliable for young pilots learning coordination. Force One represents wasted potential, where decent ideas meet poor execution and inadequate quality standards. Number 5. Yuneec. Yuneec once competed seriously in the professional market, but has fallen far behind modern standards while maintaining premium pricing that no longer makes sense. Their product lineup is confusing and outdated, with models using technology that competitors surpassed years ago still being sold at high prices. Software updates stopped for many models that are still relatively recent, leaving owners stuck with bugs and missing features that newer firmware could address. Battery technology is generations behind, offering shorter flight times and slower charging compared to current industry standards from active competitors. The camera systems use outdated sensors that produce inferior image quality compared to similarly priced options from brands investing in modern technology. Customer support has deteriorated significantly as the company shifted focus, leaving existing customers feeling abandoned with products they invested heavily in. Replacement parts have become difficult to source as the company scaled back operations, making repairs challenging and extending downtime frustratingly. The controller design hasn't evolved, lacking modern conveniences like customizable buttons and improved ergonomics that pilots now expect as standard features. Their professional-grade claims no longer hold weight when actual professionals have moved to brands offering superior performance and reliability. For the same investment, you get outdated technology and uncertain long-term support rather than cutting-edge features and active development that justify premium spending. Number 4. Parrot pioneered consumer drones, but has lost their way, producing products that feel like half-hearted attempts rather than serious competitors. Their famous models from years past created expectations that current offerings completely fail to meet, disappointing loyal customers who remember better days. The company constantly shifts focus between different market segments, never committing long enough to perfect any particular product line or build lasting expertise. Software feels rushed and buggy, with apps that crash frequently and lack the polish that users expect from established companies with years of experience. Flight performance is mediocre across their range, with no standout features that make choosing Parrot over thriving competitors a logical decision. Their pivot toward commercial and enterprise markets has left consumer customers as afterthoughts, receiving minimal attention and poor support experiences. Pricing doesn't reflect the actual value delivered, with costs that match industry leaders while performance falls noticeably short of those benchmarks. Innovation has stalled completely, with years passing between meaningful updates while competitors release improved models regularly with advancing technology. The ecosystem feels fragmented and poorly integrated, lacking the seamless experience that modern drone systems provide through thoughtful design. Parrot's decline from industry leader to struggling brand serves as a cautionary tale about losing focus and failing to evolve with changing market demands. Number 3. Autel Robotics. Autel positions themselves as a premium alternative, but delivers products plagued with reliability issues that undermine their higher price points completely. Quality control is inconsistent, with some units working acceptably, while others arrive defective or develop problems within weeks of normal use. Their proprietary ecosystem locks you into expensive accessories and replacement parts that cost significantly more than standard alternatives without justifying the premium. Software development is painfully slow, with promised features taking months or years to arrive, if they ever materialize at all for patient customers. Customer service experiences vary wildly, with some people receiving help while others report being ignored or receiving unhelpful generic responses to specific problems. Firmware updates sometimes introduce new bugs that weren't present before, creating a sense that updates might make things worse rather than better. The company's legal battles and business controversies create uncertainty about long-term support and whether your investment will remain viable going forward. Build quality doesn't match the premium pricing, with materials and construction that feel comparable to much less expensive options from budget brands. Marketing promises outpace actual delivery, creating disappointment when real-world performance fails to match promotional claims that attracted buyers initially. For professionals who need absolute reliability, Autel represents too much risk compared to established alternatives with proven track records and stable support infrastructures. Number 2. Skydio. Skydio's autonomous technology sounds revolutionary, but comes with severe practical limitations that make these drones frustrating for most normal flying situations. The obstacle avoidance system, while impressive in controlled demonstrations, struggles in real-world environments with unexpected failures that cause crashes despite the advanced sensors. Battery life is atrociously short, giving you barely enough time to capture anything meaningful before needing to land and swap power sources constantly. The camera quality is mediocre for the price point, with fixed aperture and limited manual controls that serious content creators find restrictive and disappointing. Replacement parts and repairs are extremely expensive, with proprietary components that cost multiples of what standard drone parts typically run for similar items. The subscription model for advanced features feels like a cash grab, charging ongoing fees for capabilities that competitors include standard with purchase. Availability is limited with frequent stock shortages, making it difficult to actually purchase these drones even when you've decided to take the risk. The AI tracking works well in perfect conditions, but fails unpredictably in complex environments, leading to lost subjects and wasted filming opportunities during important moments. Customer support is overwhelmed and slow to respond, leaving people waiting days or weeks for answers to time-sensitive questions about expensive equipment. For the total cost of ownership, including subscriptions and repair expenses, you could own multiple quality drones from brands offering better overall value and reliability. Number 1. Random no-name Amazon brands. The worst choice you can possibly make is buying drones from random brands you've never heard of that appear on online marketplaces with generic names. These products are usually rebranded versions of the same cheap hardware with different stickers, making comparisons and research nearly impossible for buyers. Reviews are frequently fake or manipulated, with 5-star ratings from suspicious accounts that make terrible products appear legitimate to unsuspecting shoppers. Customer support is non-existent because these sellers often disappear after collecting money, leaving you with no recourse when inevitable problems arise quickly. Safety standards are questionable at best, with batteries and electronics that may not meet basic regulations, potentially creating fire hazards or other dangerous situations. Return policies sound reasonable initially, but become nightmares when you try to actually use them, facing restocking fees and complicated international shipping requirements. The products themselves are absolute junk, barely flying at all and breaking from the slightest impact, or sometimes arriving already defective and unusable. Warranty claims go nowhere because the companies have no real presence or accountability, making printed guarantees completely worthless in practical terms. Firmware cannot be updated and contains bugs that will never be fixed, leaving you stuck with whatever problems exist in the version you received. These drones waste your money completely, teaching you nothing about proper flying and leaving you discouraged about an otherwise amazing hobby, when quality equipment would have created positive experiences instead.